Hello, my name is Pavel, and do you know who Harry Styles is? If you said yes, then great, this is what this video is about, and if you said no, then you know what, still watch this video and find out who he is, but realistically, you do know who he is. By the title of this video, you can probably figure out what this video is going to be about. It's about watching Harry Styles' favorite movies. I went online and I searched up Harry Styles' favorite movies, and I was kind of shocked with the results. I was shocked because I don't think I expected so-called chick flicks, and that's a term I don't really agree with. Like, what does chick flick movies mean? So the three movies are Love Actually, The Notebook, and Titanic. You've definitely heard of all these movies, and that's why I was so shocked, because this video is inspired by Jack Edwards, who read Harry Styles' favorite books, and his books were just books that I've never really heard of or have not read, and I do really enjoy reading, as you can see there. So whenever I checked up the movies, I was a bit confused. I was like, okay, is this like an outdated list? Is this something from like a very old era? So I don't really know what's happening there, but the reason I am doing this video is to celebrate the release of Harry's new album, which came out on Friday. I think it's on Friday. Yes, it came out on Friday. And while I'm filming this in the past, so it's not out yet, but I don't really know what my favorite song is. So far, all I know is As It Was, and I've been kind of hyping myself for this video because I've been listening to so much Harry, and you know what? I'm just kind of excited to kind of have a reason to watch his favorite movies, and the reason is his album's coming out, so why not do it? I have seen all three of these movies, but it's okay, I'm still going to rewatch them and give you all my opinions. And you know what, I don't really want this intro to be super long. I just kind of want to get into the main point of the video, which is to actually watch the movies. So let's go celebrate Harry's house by watching his three favorite movies, and I'm really excited to do it, so let's get on with the video. Okay, hello. So I just watched the first movie, which was Love Actually, and I feel like I don't need to read you the synopsis for Love Actually, but I'm going to in case you haven't seen it. But I feel like everybody on earth has seen this movie. Probably. Not everybody, but a lot of people have seen this movie. So the synopsis for this film reads: romance breaks out across London during Christmas time, but it'll take a miracle to sort out all the relationships. So the synopsis for this movie is quite vague, but it's also very difficult to kind of summarize this movie. Like, as this synopsis states, there's just a lot of people falling in love, and there's a lot of narratives, and there's a lot of things happening, and hence why this movie is like almost 2.5 hours long. But I'll get to that point in a second. The first thing I kind of want to point out is the intro. I do not like the intro to this movie, and I'm not going to bash on Love Actually because I do actually really like this movie, but I just do not like the intro. I don't want, everyone's just kind of hugging, and the Hugh Grant is just kind of like speaking over us, and he's like, love is blank, blah blah, and he's just speaking about love and stuff like that. Look, it just kind of felt like a weird ad you would see on TV that would be like for the bank or for like a phone company or something like that. But aside from that, let me talk about the positives of this movie. The cast, you know what, I'm always like, if there's a huge cast and it's amazing, the movie might suffer because of that. And you know what, this movie isn't perfect, but that's okay. This movie doesn't need to be perfect. And let me kind of explain why I think that. This movie was created to be like a heartfelt, lovely, you know, just a lovely Christmas movie. And I think it does exactly what it sets out to do. So having a great cast, having so many stories, yes, it gets a bit messy, and it's kind of like some stories are a little bit more entertaining than others. But since there are so many narratives and storylines happening at the same time, I feel like that makes this a really great Christmas movie, because no matter who watches, most people will be able to empathize on like a universal topic that is kind of mentioned or shown throughout this movie. And it's why it makes Love Actually so accessible, why it makes it so enjoyable, is because you probably see yourself in one of these characters, in one of the scenarios. All the storylines are quite diverse, therefore it makes it really enjoyable to watch. Bill is probably my favorite character, I think, I'm not sure. But also it feels so fucking wrong to be watching a Christmas movie in the end of April. Yes, I'm filming this in the end of April. It just feels wrong. Christmas is so far away, and I'm just chilling here like listening to Christmas music and like getting in the Christmas spirit. Then I looked at the calendar and I was like, oh, okay, Christmas is very fucking far away, so let me not get ahead of myself. But anyway, yes, this movie is 2.5 hours long, but it's like, it flies by. Like, I know I say that about a lot of movies, but the time just flew. I looked and I was like, 20 minutes left? How? And I think that's a sign that this is a good, solid, fucking great, amazing, blah 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 Christmas movie. But I think Harry, you know, good pick if this is actually one of your favorite movies. Anyway, on to the next movie. I think I will watch Titanic next. Yeah, sure, fuck it, I'll watch Titanic. And you've definitely also seen Titanic, but I'm definitely gonna say this so many times throughout this video. But anyway, let me get on to the next movie. I am so warm, as you can see by my cheeks. Be right back. Okay, so I just finished watching the Titanic and holy fuck. That is such a long movie. I did not realize that this was such a long film. But saying that, I did tell you a little fib. I think I said at the start of this video that I have seen all these movies, and that's a lie. I realized as I was watching this movie, I have not seen Titanic entirely, simply because it is so long, and I think when I did watch it, I just kind of gave up. Or maybe I have watched it and just in parts. I don't know, but basically I told you a little fib and I apologize for that. You know the story of Titanic. Ship left, ship sank, iceberg. You know how the story goes. I'm not even going to read the synopsis for you, and if you don't know what Titanic is about, then how have you not covered it in school? I'm not too sure. But basically, the first half of this movie was the typical love story. Girl with bad partner, find another boy, all works well. Kind of like The Notebook. You know, I haven't watched The Notebook yet for this video, but I have seen it before. So it's stereotypical, it's a little bit, kind of sappy, but it works. And, it's held this iconic title for such a long time, and it was remastered in 2012, I believe. So it works. I do like a sappy kind of movie now and then, but you do fall in love with Rose and Jack. And also I really like how this movie also, alongside The Notebook, speaks about class and kind of just has characters from different class backgrounds, and I always appreciate that in a movie, especially when it's done quite well. It's done all right in this, but it's still an interesting kind of trope or theme to have throughout a movie. And he could have fit on that board door thingy-majig in the water. He could have fit. You know what I'm on about. He could have fit. If you feel like you've seen something along these sort of lines before, thematically, it's because you have. And sells tickets and gets views, then why change it? And this movie successfully convinces you to fall in love with both Rose and Jack and their relationship, and as you watch them blossom and kind of fall in love. And obviously we can't ignore the history of this movie. So interesting. I went to the Belfast Titanic museum thing, and I learned quite a lot of history about it, and seeing this fictionally visualized is also very interesting to kind of piece together everything that I learned a few years ago and kind of seeing it on the screen. And obviously there's the basic details. When you have all the nitty-gritty details put together, it's interesting. It gives you a good perspective on everything. And I feel like the second half of this movie, I know I've spoken about the first, in the second half of this movie, it's just kind of survival, chaos, everything's going to shit. And this movie kind of makes you think about the fact that all these characters are facing the fact that they're going to die. And it just kind of the mental process that goes through your mind when you're about to die. I don't know about that, I've never been through that, but I'm guessing it's just kind of right, I'm not going to be thinking straight, I'm just going to jump in the water, I'm going to throw this. But I feel like this movie mixes love and chaos and just blends it very well, and I really love that. So Titanic has something for everyone. Bit of romance, bit of love, a bit of drama, bit of everything. So definitely watch Titanic if you've not seen it before. Don't be like me. But don't forget, this movie is extremely fucking long, so you know what? Watch it in the morning and sit through it. Anyway, that's me done speaking about the Titanic, and now I'm gonna go watch The Notebook. So, be right back. Hello, so I just watched the third and final movie of this little challenge video thingamajig, and you've definitely never heard of this movie either. It is called The Notebook, and I can't believe I'm actually going to read the synopsis for The Notebook. But here we are, and I'm actually going to read it. So, the synopsis for this film reads: an ill-fated 1940s love affair is retold through the pages of an elderly woman's diary. If you have not seen this movie, then you've at least heard of it, because I remember being 10, maybe 11, and everybody being the ultimate romantic chick flick type movie is The Notebook. If you want to make your girlfriend cry, watch The Notebook. I genuinely remember it being one of those years I'm watching a YouTube video and people giving girlfriend advice. Don't ask why, just don't ask. I just remember everybody raving on about this movie, and I watched it when I was 16 for the first time, I think. And I'm not gonna lie, the very first time I watched it, I was like, you know what, this movie fucking sucks. But to justify that, I watched this on a tiny iPhone 6, and I was in a call at the same time with somebody, so maybe that wasn't the best judgment. But when I watched it today, I was like, you know what, I remember so many fucking scenes from this, and I was really proud of myself. And I'm not gonna lie, this isn't my favorite movie, but let me explain why. I love the first hour and 40 minutes of this movie. I love the character build up, and I love the growing stage of both Noah and Ali. I love when they meet, and I love how they fall in love, and all that sort of stuff in romantic type of movies really gets to me, and I loved it. It was beautiful. It's just the last 20 minutes, I felt like it was a little bit too soppy, and it was just a little bit, I don't know. It's just not my favorite thing, but I still really do enjoy this movie. I love how this movie kind of convinces you to be angry at Ali for being happy and actually being away from Noah for 7 years. She's allowed to get married and find a new boyfriend, but this movie still makes you think oh, she's a bad person because she's falling in love. Oh, we're all on Noah's side. And I love how it kind of tries to justify that. How dare you be happy after 7 years? And I love how this movie portrays that. And I also love the Ferris wheel scene. Amazing. Ryan Gosling in this movie, so fucking cool. And it's so weird seeing him so young. So definitely a thumbs up for that. And it's also really interesting to me how influential this movie is. I feel after 2005 and all the way to the 2014 and all that, there was such an emergence of just romantic movies, and I feel the popularity of this movie kind of inspired that even more. I'm not saying there wasn't any romantic movies before that or after that, and they're not I'm not saying they're all directly inspired by The Notebook. I just feel this commercial success of The Notebook had such a great influence on movies, especially this type of genre, and just love movies in general. And you know what? Fair play. It is a really good movie, and I understand why it is so popular. It shares such common themes that people would discuss, love, obviously, and the idea of the theme of finding your true love and sticking with them forever, and you find them when you're young and you stay with them for the rest of your life, and blah blah blah, all those sort of themes. I understand why they appeal to people, and you know what, this movie is good for that. I just didn't really like the last 10 minutes, but that's just me. Maybe I was just kind of that's just too much, just a little bit too sappy for me. But maybe I'm just being too harsh. Am I being too harsh in this movie? Who knows? I feel that's all I gotta say about this movie. There's not so much that you could speak about The Notebook, but when I say The Notebook, you know exactly what it is. And I think when you can just say those two words and an instant image and thought comes into your head, then I think that's a successful movie, and it's done very well. This movie is probably going to keep its iconic popular status for a very, very, very long time. And you know what? Fair enough. I'm going to conclude this video when it's a little bit brighter, because I'm kind of filming this when it's really dark out. So I'll be back in 2 seconds, and I'll give you my overall opinions. I'll give you a list of what I thought about the movies, a hierarchy. And you know what? I'll conclude this video, and then I'll chat to you a little bit more then. I think that's a deal. It's a deal. Be right back. So, it is the ending of this video. I watched 3 movies, and I did not expect them to be kind of stereotypical chick flicks. As I said before, I do not agree with that term, because it's a weird categorization. And it's not that I don't agree with it, I just don't really understand what it means. Is Titanic a chick flick? I don't really know. Let me actually turn up the brightness on my camera, because I feel I'm a little bit dark. But if I was to rank these movies in order of my favorite to least favorite, I would say Love Actually, The Notebook, and Titanic. Simply the Titanic glasses, because it's so fucking long. And yes, it's great, but I just obviously, as you've been able to tell by my reviews, I've loved Love Actually the most. Notebook was fairly good. I quite enjoyed it, and Titanic was great. Yeah, I know, but it's holy fuck. It's long, and I'm just gonna put it last. And I know I shouldn't judge a movie by its length, but here we are, and I'm doing it. So if I find a new list of Harry's favorite movies, an updated one, because I really do feel this is quite an old list. I feel this was in the What Makes You Beautiful era type thing, where Harry was yeah, my favorite movies are The Notebook, Love Actually, blah 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 blah. And so if I find something new, I will definitely make an update video about it. And let me know what you thought of the album, because by the time this video is out, Harry's House is available to stream inside your house, and you should listen to it in your house and let me know what you thought about it, because I'm filming this in the past. I genuinely do remember when What Makes You Beautiful came out, the video. I remember seeing it on YouTube, and I was who the fuck are One Direction? I remember seeing them on X Factor, and I do remember it coming out on YouTube, and I was watching, and I was you know, this kind of bangs, and I do not know how long ago that was. But I remember that on my really old iPad, like watching that. Don't ask me why I remember that, but I definitely do. So that was Harry Styles' favorite movies. There was only 3 of them, but what can you do? That was the only list I could find online, and I really enjoyed making this video. So, have you seen any of these movies? If you have, what did you think of them? And I always ask at the end of all of my videos, what movie should I watch next? Let me know in the comments or on my Instagram, and thank you so much for watching this video, and especially if you've made it this far. I hope it's not too long, but knowing me, it was. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Also, ignore my little boo-boo, my little plaster.